Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling something incredibly practical. For anyone looking to share their knowledge, we are going to demystify the whole process of building really compelling, high-quality content using literally nothing but YouTube Studio's built-in video creator. Yep, no expensive software required, just a simple, step-by-step workflow. It's kind of the ultimate barrier to entry, isn't it? Like, how do you build a captivating explainer from scratch without dropping a fortune on heavy editing software? Now, there's a fun bit of meta magic happening here because we're actually unpacking the secrets to making explainers inside an explainer. But the biggest secret? The tools you need are already sitting right inside YouTube Studio. A lot of folks think they need some masterclass in video production just to get started. But the reality? Those native tools have evolved so much, they can handle the whole shebang, from pacing to polish. You just need to know the workflow.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the explainer blueprint.
You know, every great structure needs a solid foundation, and jumping straight onto a timeline without a plan, well, that's just a recipe for a messy final product. So first, sign into your account, navigate to YouTube Studio, hit Create, and then Editor. This space right here is your new digital workbench. But before you touch a single media clip, you've got to prepare your prompt. Writing a short script that defines your exact purpose makes sure every visual you eventually choose perfectly anchors your core message. Think of it like mapping out the architectural plans before you pour the concrete. Without it, you just end up with this disjointed collection of clips instead of a cohesive story. Now, what's really interesting about this exact prompt from our source material is how tight it is. Explainer video showing how project portfolio management improves efficiency with animated text, upbeat background music, and clear call to action. Notice how efficiently constructed that is? It doesn't just list a topic. It dictates the whole mood, the specific elements you need, and the desired outcome. This level of vivid detail, that's the blueprint you want to emulate. By being this specific upfront, you literally eliminate the guesswork. When you go looking for music, you already know you need upbeat tracks. When you add text, you know it needs to be animated. It just streamlines everything. Moving right along, Section 2, assembling your assets. All right, so with a rock-solid blueprint in your back pocket, your prompt actually starts to come to life. Think of step 1 as your scaffolding, uploading your media. You arrange your clips, your screen recordings, or stock footage sequentially, so the logic naturally flows from one concept to the next. Then comes step 2, which is kind of like the interior design. You use text, titles, and lower thirds to highlight the key points of your narrative and guide the viewer's eye. And finally, step 3 breathes life into the whole sequence with audio. You pair background music from YouTube's free audio library with your uploaded voiceover. Now, actually, a crucial detail here, make absolutely sure you balance those audio levels. Your music should elevate the emotional tone, never, ever compete with it. If the viewer has to strain to hear your voice over a heavy bass line, yeah, they're just going to click away. Okay, pause for a second, because there is a massive trap here that is incredibly tempting to fall into. Putting your entire script on the screen? Please, keep your text short and easy to read. Doing otherwise instantly overwhelms the viewer's cognitive load. I mean, humans generally cannot read a dense paragraph of text while simultaneously listening to someone explain a nuanced concept. It's just too much. Let your carefully chosen visuals and your voiceover do the heavy lifting, and use text only to anchor the absolute most critical concepts. Really, just think of text as punctuation marks for your broader ideas.
Which brings us to Section 3, polishing and publishing.
So, your raw assembly is sitting there on the timeline, but it needs a little refinement to really shine. Step 1 is where you trim away the fat, cutting out dead air, adding smooth transitions, and relentlessly checking the pacing so it feels completely natural. This editing phase is 100% about respecting the audience's time. Once that flow is locked in, you move to step 2, export and publish. But hey, resist the urge to just hit upload immediately. Optimizing your metadata is what bridges the gap between just creating content and actually getting it seen. Adding a strong title, a highly detailed description, and relevant tags, that ensures people can discover your work through search algorithms. It's the curb appeal. It invites people to actually walk through the front door of the house you just built. And finally, Section 4, Pro Tips for Success, the secret sauce. We've covered the mechanical steps, but this is where we get to the strategies that actually keep people watching. Right off the bat, we have the 5-second rule. You literally have exactly 5 seconds to hook your viewers. The modern attention span is ruthless. You absolutely have to grab their focus immediately with a bold statement, a compelling question, or really striking visual. In fact, if you think back to how we started this very breakdown today with that direct, provocative question about avoiding expensive software, you can see this rule in action. Establishing stakes early gives people a reason to invest their time. Beyond that initial hook, there are a few core rules to live by.
Hook them early, use visuals to aggressively simplify your message, and keep the runtime incredibly tight. The data consistently suggests aiming for a runtime of about 2 to 3 minutes for maximum viewer retention. You want to get in, deliver immense value, and get out before their attention wanes. Extended runtimes are totally fine for deep dives, but explainers, they thrive on conciseness. And finally, never leave your audience hanging. Always end with a strong call to action, directing them exactly on what they should do next, whether that's subscribing, checking out a related link, or answering a question down in the comments.
Let's double-click on that idea of simplification for a second. Complex ideas are notoriously abstract and honestly incredibly frustrating to explain using words alone. You can talk in circles trying to define a concept, and the viewer might still be totally lost. But the moment you apply a visual solution, like a simple diagram showing a workflow, a targeted animation, or just a clear icon, boom, it effortlessly clicks. Visuals bypass all that heavy cognitive processing required to decode language, and they deliver meaning almost instantly. So never rely entirely on your voiceover when a well-placed visual element can spark that instant understanding. Which naturally brings us to our own call to action. You have the blueprint, you know the workflow for assembling and polishing your timeline, and you understand the psychology of retention. The power to create high-level content is literally sitting free inside your browser right now. So the only question left is, what will your first explainer be about? Think of a topic you absolutely love, hit subscribe so you don't miss our next breakdown, and jump straight into YouTube Studio to start creating.